Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Imperial Diecast. Now, some of my viewers wanted me to present 143 scale cars again, as it has been several months since the last one. So today I want to take you aboard a time machine back to the 1980s, to the age of Walkman, walkie-talkies, and the W126 Mercedes-Benz Coupe. So this is the model that I'll be reviewing today, and it is a 143 scale Mercedes Coupe 500 SEC of the C126 generation, made by basically the same company which is sometimes referred to as IXO, sometimes Altaya, and sometimes deAgostini. But we'll get to that in a moment. So this is basically how they sell this model to you. It comes in this box and is sealed at the back. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to unbox this car for you. It's always a nice thing doing this. Now, on first glance, it kind of looks like this picture right here is attached to the back, but it isn't. So you can see the box can be opened very easily. And then the model will just slide out. And there you go. That's pretty much it. So this empty box is now pretty useless because there is really nothing at the back. And here's the model. So this is basically the interior box of the 143 scale Mercedes-Benz 500 SEC of the year 1981. And if we take a look at the back of the box, we're going to actually find some stats on this car. You can see that it has a V8 engine with 4,973 cc of engine displacement, 231 horsepower. It's a 4-speed automatic, top speed of 225 kilometers per hour, 0 to 100 in 8.1 seconds. Then again, this is not a sports car. Mileage is about 15.2 liters for every 100 kilometers, and it was built between 1981 to 1991. If you look at the bottom of the box, you can see that since this is a 143 scale car, it has this triangular screw which fixes it. Unfortunately, I still have not received my screwdriver for these triangle heads, and therefore I will not be able to unscrew this car from its base, which means I cannot show you the bottom of the car, but I hope you won't mind. Otherwise, there's nothing interesting written here. It's just a few warning labels. But without any further ado, I'd suggest we unbox this car properly. And you can see that down here we have these two sellotapes holding the box in place. So I'm going to remove them. Should be pretty easy. There's one. And here is the other. The cool thing about 143 scale models is that they always come in this hard case plexiglass box, which means, first of all, they're protected very well from dust and also from damage. And now if we just very carefully remove this. And these also have a pretty nice seal on them. There we go. And here is the model in all its glory. a car that I picked up for 15 euros along with a few other 143s from CK Model Cars back when they were having a Mercedes sale. What sucks though was that it was sold out about a week later. This C126 Mercedes Coupe, together with its successor, the C140, became the predecessors to two generations of the CL class, codenamed C215 and C216, which in turn led to the current C217 S-Class Coupe. So you can see we've come a long way, but the C126 Coupe pretty much set the bar for everything that followed. Now don't let all of this C fool you into thinking that this is a C-Class Coupe. The fact that this car, referred to back in the day as the Mercedes Coupe, was based on the S-Class platform is actually hidden in the SEC branding. Because the S stands for S-Class, the E for Einspritzmotor, or basically an engine that works on fuel injection, and the C for coupe. The 500 before it indicates the engine displacement, in this case a 5-liter V8, naturally aspirated, and capable of 220 horsepower on this Eurospec model. For the American market, the Mercedes cars had to undergo several changes, including replacing these headlights with uglier ones that no longer aligned with the grille, bigger rear bumpers, and a weaker engine. This is why something called a gray market developed for 80s Mercedes cars in the US, where Eurospec models were imported, slightly modified, and then sold to the public, primarily for the more powerful engine. Now, despite only being a coupe, this car was more expensive than the W126 four-door sedan it was based on. And to make matters worse, this was a period of time during which the prices of Mercedes cars actually appreciated over the years, rather than depreciating. The 500 SEC, back in 1981, costed 71,000 Deutsche Mark, or 35,000 US dollars back in the day. And 10 years later, its price had risen to 120,000 Deutsche Mark, or about 78,000 US dollars, which is anywhere between 70 to 100 grand in today's money, depending on whether you bought the car in the early or late 80s. To make a long story short, this was one of the most expensive production coupes back in the day. The kind CEOs would drive to their golf clubs during weekends. This is the pre-facelift version, which was produced in the first half of the 1980s. There are very few visual differences between this and the facelift, but one way you can tell is by the presence of these side strakes that were discontinued on the facelift version. So let's take a closer look at the front of this car. So I have to say, for a 143 scale XO/Altaya/deAgostini model, this is actually a pretty detailed front end. You can see that we have the Mercedes star up here, and on either side of it is a single slat grille. And the cool thing about this grille is that all these parts here are actually raised. They're not stickers or anything. So they managed to work in these tiny chrome pieces into the front grille. Another highlight of the front is that the headlights have no pegs in them, so they look great. Unfortunately, however, the fog lights do have pegs in them, but at least they do have a little bit of a texture going on. You can see the 500 SEC license plate over here. The indicators are separately colored in orange, but they do contain pegs. You can also see that we have a Mercedes-Benz badge on the hood itself, so that's plenty of detail for a 143 scale car. And here's a look at the side of the car. What I like most about it is the sort of clean-cut elegance of an S-Class platform. Another innovation of the Mercedes Coupe was the fact that the B-pillar was missing, which means that these cars came with pillarless doors. So that was pretty cool back in the day. And this is a tradition that carried on into the CL class and today's S-Class Coupe. And obviously another thing that's also awesome, are these 80s rims. I believe in German they're called Gullideckel, or manhole cover rims. It's quite funny, the name. I got a very similar type of rims also on the 190E and 124 scale, the baby Benz that I've also reviewed. So yeah, I don't know why Mercedes don't make these rims anymore. They have style. And here's a look at the back of the car. Again, you've got these segmented taillights in different colors, as was the case for any 80s Mercedes. Unfortunately, the taillights do have pegs. However, I guess it's unavoidable on a budget 143 scale car. What I do like, however, is that it says 500 SEC over here. Got the Mercedes star and the rear license plate as well. Looking a little bit further above, you can see that we also have this little antenna here. So that's a nice little extra bit of detail. The gloss black paintwork is pretty good. Over here you can see into the rear deck. Very big rear windshield. And up here we have a closed sunroof. Now looking at the interior of this car, I mean, this is where things get really interesting, because this is a black car with a beige interior, so I think the color combination is very nice. But despite it being a small 143 scale car, there's still a lot of detail in here. I mean, you can see that we have a black center armrest. This is a 2+2 coupe, which means that there are 2 rear seats as well. And you can see that they have some detailing. But if we look at the driver's side, not only do we have this retro steering wheel, but behind it we can also see an instrument panel with the instrument gauges visible and detailed. So that is very nice. The stick shift does look like it's a manual, although on the back it does say it's automatic, 4-speed auto. But yeah, I mean, I think it's done pretty well. So all things considered, I'm sure most of you knew about the W126 S-Class 4-door sedan from the 1980s, but I wonder how many of you knew about this Mercedes Coupe. I hope my review has helped you get an idea about what this car was, and why it still has fans to this day. And one of the goals of my channel really is to make you appreciate cars from other scales as well. If you want to check out more reviews of my cars from this period, I have also reviewed the 143 scale Lotus Esprit Turbo by AutoArt, or if you're more interested in Mercedes cars, I've reviewed a bigger 124 scale baby Benz, the Mercedes 190E. So thank you so much for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Imperial Diecast, signing out.